This is To The Test, the show where we put tech products through weird experiments.
In this episode, 3 brands of active noise-cancelling wireless earbuds and how well they hold up against chaos.
And feel free to struggle.
First, the Apple AirPods Pro. Launched in 2019, 2 years before the other 2 models, but with new features, like spatial audio with hit tracking, which gives you a surround sound experience without the fancy speakers. Next, Sony. Specifically, their WF-1000XM4 wireless noise-cancelling headphones, which boast of industry-leading noise cancellation that can block out a range of unwanted sounds, including wind. Finally, Jabra, the Elite 7 Pro, Jabra's new flagship model. Smaller, lighter, and a fit developed from 62,000 ear scans. Plus, the ability to customize the level of noise cancelling you want with the Sound Plus app. The Jabra set is also dust and immersion resistant. In fact, it should be fine even after being left in up to a meter of water for 30 minutes. The other sets we are testing are only splash resistant. Now, all of them claim to improve sound clarity in noisy environments, but just how noise cancelling are they really?
Sounds like they should prove it. Here's how we're gonna do this. Ray's gonna put the headphones in, and then because we're testing their abilities in calls, she's gonna transcribe 30 seconds of an SPH podcast. But here's the kicker. She's gonna be doing it
In a really noisy location. Like here.
Then, we compare the accuracy of the transcription against the one I did in a quieter place. The tests will be conducted at 3 locations. 1, at a hawker center. 2, next to a vacuum. And 3, finally, the Noisiest, a construction site.
We're here at Gilmore Market and Food Centre, and I'm going to start with the Apple AirPods Pro.
Thanks for joining us, Dr. Cooper.
You're welcome. I think we have to remember that the virus is like a simple machine.
You were saying that your vision is to create this McDonald's of payments.
I would say that the noise in a hawker centre environment was no match for the ANC for all 3 of them.
And looking at this, they're exactly the same. So like biodiversity framework is something you might triple on, but it's right, you've got it.
Now we're at a void deck where it's relatively quiet, but not for long.
While Aura Logos is being valued at a 1.6%.
3 books I focused on for this podcast, which were Damon Galgut's The Promise, Nadifah Mohammad's The Fortune Man.
Was there any particular instance that sparked this dream of being able to phone for you, or what was it?
So because if you compare the Apple, Jabra and Sony, although these all 3 you were being subjected to the vacuum, the Apple clearly suffered.
There was just something about the particular frequency of the noise being made by the vacuum. I don't know why, but it just came through very clearly on the Apple, more so than the other 2. When I wasn't listening to the podcast, I could definitely tell a difference between when I had them on and when I didn't have them on.
Okay.
You know, it was much louder, and I could hear the reverberation of the walls.
Right.
When I didn't have them on. So they definitely dampened the sound, but they still let in a lot of sound. We're here by a work site beside the road, and it's very noisy. I can hardly hear myself think. We're going to start with the Apple again.
Biggest local influencer drama in, I think
Okay, my top recommendation will be the salted crispy chicken.
Work site. Now this one was the one where the moment you sat down, you were instantly affected by the noise. Well, I think it's hard to imagine myself ever working in such an environment. But if I did have to, I'd definitely be glad to have one of these earphones with me.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of the other noise, the vehicles moving by, there was a generator some distance away, those noise did get effectively blocked out. Okay. So essentially, what I heard was
just the sound of the jackhammer. And it was definitely muffled compared to if I wasn't using ANC. That being said, but once the jackhammer came back in, that's where I hardly could hear anything at all.
Oh, but you still managed to do this.
I think it also helps that I'm a little more familiar with some of these subject matters.
Right.
So, if I know what they're talking about, I can sort of fill in the gaps myself.
So if you had one that was like full of jargon, you wouldn't have been able to type as much as you did here.
It would be totally futile.
Sony's Mark IV and Jabra's Elite 7 Pro both feature bone conduction tech for greater call clarity. And the call quality of Apple's AirPods Pro has been well reviewed. How well do they work? Let's find out.
I'm going to stand here with construction behind me and read this passage. And what you'll be hearing is going to be the audio coming straight from these. It is the 15th of October. The world is full of amazing plant and animal life without which humans cannot survive. Yet, nature is under threat from our rush for resources to grow our economies and cities.
Now we take these results to the experts at Singapore's first audio cafe, Zeppelin & Co.
Each of the companies of the brands that you've mentioned actually targets a certain frequency. When this frequency is detected, the other noise wave kind of just cancels it out. So it's like a +1 and a -1 then becoming 0. So the noise is still there, and how effective, it doesn't really get to 0, it gets into a 0 point something something, because you can't pinpoint that exact frequency that you're trying to cancel out.
This example actually encapsulates what exactly noise cancelling can do. Number one is when the sound is relatively monotonous, one single frequency throughout, like the humming of the fan at the hawker center, so it's actually able to cancel that out much better as compared to human voices. Up and down, different frequencies, then you have this issue where, actually you can still hear a lot of things. The reason why it's called active is that it captures ambient sounds around it, and it processes and it does a inverted waveform to the sound that you are hearing or playing, so that it actually actively cancels out that noise. You cannot hear the sound, but your brain is still doing the processing work. The more you have to cancel out, the more your brain has to process.
So people who walk through the door asking for noise cancelling and how often they walk away with the noise cancelling, 50%.
When they try active noise cancelling, I always tell them try it for 15-20 minutes. If you do not feel like you have a headache or anything, then I think it's suitable for you. The chances of them saying, actually I do feel a headache, maybe 2 out of 5 people. Whether you're using ANC or whether you're using normal earphones, the number one thing that you have to consider is seal. If we get new customers that come in, at least 80% of them don't know how good a good seal on a normal earphones can do, because they are so used to the standard EarPods, like one size fits all, that they don't know that, actually they are not getting very good seal on them.
We want people to listen better. We want people to try. If you really want a noise cancelling, come try it. So some people have a lot of space to hold maybe like a big earphone in the ear, but there are some which is just one look at the ear, you can forget about whatever you've read online.
Once you have a poor seal, what happens is you tend to crank up the volume. Your hair cells in your cochlea in the ear just starts to die bit by bit, and you don't know, you keep turning it louder and louder. And then before you know it, when it gets really, really bad, that is only when you actually know you have hearing loss. Once you have a good seal, you will bring down your volume to a more natural level of noise, and you will still have the same emotion that you want to feel coming from your music. That will protect your ears for a long time to come.
So what are our overall recommendations?
Well, if you're looking for a pair of ANC earphones specifically to block out noise, the Sony is a clear winner.
But they're so good at blocking the world out, it's a little bit disconcerting.
Oh my god. Holy shit, I can't hear a thing. My god. This feels terrible. Okay.
Which I guess is testament to how good the tech is.
I did find them a bit fussy though. You have to roll the foam tips between your fingers before putting them in your ear to get the right seal. And it takes a little bit of effort to find the right fit. while listening to music at home, I actually found myself gravitating towards the other two products. Ultimately, what'll work best for you comes down to personal preference and your individual use case, but these are all really solid options. Work from home might be here for a while, and traveling's making a comeback, so if you're still on the fence about getting ANC earphones in the first place, it might be time for an upgrade.
Or checking the seal in your ears before buying headphones. Need more detail in your reviews? Check out Ray's article on st.com, or if you're on YouTube, somewhere in the description.